Conversation.
I'm out on the open ocean, and I won't stop until I find an island to conquer. But first, I've got to figure out how to steer a boat!
Hello, and welcome to the Kongversation. We're back. It's season 5. I'm Hyle Russell.
And I'm Nick Prol. How y'all doing?
Yeah, I'm doing... Well, I'm confused right now, Nick. I think most of the Donkey Kong fan base is terribly, terribly confused, which is not the mood I was expecting to be in coming out of the Switch presentation on Thursday night. I was expecting to be disappointed and bitter, which is our usual moods for these things.
Or apathetic.
I was apathetic going into it because I was just anticipating being bitter and despondent. And that's been my mood, for the latter part of 2016, it feels like. So I was just expecting to have more of that. Instead, I am terribly confused about the state of Donkey Kong right now. And we'll get into that in this episode. That's going to be, I think, the main event. So, but we're also going to be talking about everything else that's worth discussing from the Switch presentation, even the stuff
like arms.
Like arms, yeah. Stuff that's not
legs.
Really big swinging phallus.
Oh, that's a launch title, right?
If they wanted to actually have the Switch be successful, that would be a launch title. But yeah, I don't know. We're going to be talking about stuff that isn't related to the Donkey Kong universe per se, but we're really saving up for what we have to talk about that's actually relevant to the show topic, which, of course, if you're new to the conversation, is the Donkey Kong universe, rare, platonic, the shared world they created starting in 1994 that continues
and
to this
all
day.
Related street signs.
Yeah, right. We're going to be reading some signs. Signs everywhere, signs.
It's going to be like Mel Gibson up in here.
Make sure you set out your glasses of water for when the implausible water-phobic aliens invade.
Switch away. Switch away.
So it is a new year, Nick, and just for newcomers, and I wanted to explain what the Kongversation is real quick.
Oh. Okay.
The Kongversation, this is our 5th year now. But, well, we just passed our 4-year anniversary, but it's our 5th year, 5th season. And it's the podcast for DK Vine, essentially, discounting all of the other podcasts we've done in the past. But it's a place where the DK Vine staff and I can, chat about the news of the day and also get into nostalgic wanking sessions over Donkey Kong Country and all of its various spin-offs. And that includes Banjo-Kazooie, Conker. We've got 3 Star Fox games, but only those 3. You've got...
And all related street signs.
And all related street signs. You've also got the spin-offs of the spin-offs, like Viva Pinata, Grab by the Ghoulies, It's Mr. Pants. You've got Sea of
Jet
Thieves.
Force Gemini should be in there, but we won't talk about that.
Talk about bitterness. Jeez. Sea of Thieves and Yooka-Laylee, 2 big games that are going to be topics of huge conversation in 2017, are included in the shared universe. So we've got,
Tracky Train.
We still haven't figured that out. We've got a lot to talk about this year. I think 2016, there was a kind of a void and absence of games that actually came out that were worth talking about. 2017 is not going to be like that. We have the Switch. We have Yooka-Laylee. We don't have a release date for Sea of Thieves, but it's looking like Sea of Thieves might be a thing in 2017. So
we already have so much to discuss, even if we are confused, like you said.
Donkey all confused, Nick, and that applies to us as well.
Yes, unfortunately.
For returning listeners, you might be wondering, how did we survive the nuclear holocaust at the end of last season? Well, I would like to apologize about that. It turns out that was just a wacky callback to my IBS. And I had a milkshake before the show. Shouldn't have done that. And it unfortunately caught up with me at the very end. So we didn't all perish in atomic hellfire. it was just severe flatulence on my part.
That's the kind of humor you have to look forward to all this year, folks.
That's the classiest we get, too. It's all downhill from here. It's been a while since we've done due diligence, so we've also got to do due diligence. For you newcomers, due diligence is where we whore ourselves out and shill shamelessly for our wares. So, back DK Vine on Patreon. Yeah, Patreon. Patreon allows us to essentially finance everything we do on DK Vine. It's very time intensive. I swear I've been on a 3-day DK Vine work bender, and I haven't really made time for my wife. So anyway, it takes a lot of time and effort to do the things we want to do on DK Vine. We've got a lot of projects in the works that I'm not going to share with you, but trust me, there's some good stuff here, including my upcoming Twitch series, the Slushed Fun Twitch. So,
and my ARMS cosplay.
Every cent you can give us definitely helps because it all goes back into DK Vine. And for instance, we buy new gear with it, we pay for the server itself, and we also give you rewards. So, for example, $1 a month gets you stickers.
Ooh.
Free, complimentary stickers if you give us $1 a month.
Wait, but I gave you guys $1 a month last year. Do I just get the same stupid stickers again?
Well, Nick, I'm glad you brought that up. See, we're really gelling now. You set me up, and then I swing the bat, and I knock that shill over the wall. That's how baseball works, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Ever since Nintendo got rid of Ken Griffey Jr., I've lost interest. Yeah, February 2017, we are sending out Series 2 stickers to all of our patrons, every single patron. So even if you got the 2016 stickers, even if you've been with us for a while, you will be getting the new set of stickers. 4 new stickers.
Can't wait to see them.
Yeah. 3 new characters plus a new rendition of the DK Vine logo. It's the same logo, but we changed some things, and it's anyway. But you're going to get those. If you are a new patron and you're like, well, damn it, I wanted those old stickers. Have no fear, because if you back us at the $10 and up tier, you will be entitled to all previous iterations of series of stickers. So
that's handy.
Yeah. Plus, we're going to be throwing in some other things in that $10 tier too. We're updating our whole patron reward system and going to make it better than ever. We're going to make our Patreon great again in 2017.
Can't wait.
So anyway, that's enough of that. Be sure to check out our website before you give us money. It's dkvine.com. We've been around for over 17 years now. We'll be celebrating our 18th anniversary this year, which is actually our 19th anniversary this year. No, our 18th anniversary. Math is hard. I can't do the mathematics.
You skipped that DKU entry.
Yeah, DK Junior math. If only that was DKU, and then I would have enough practical knowledge in STEM, so I wouldn't have to do DK Vine, and I could have a real job. But we're going to be celebrating our 18th anniversary this year. It's been around a long time. The site looks amazing right now, thanks to the new Donkey Kong Country 3 anniversary skin we've got going on. That's all down to Cameron Regal and Matt Corna, our 2 staff members who you'll hear on the Kongversation from time to time this season. Follow us on YouTube. We got a lot of video projects coming up. I'm working on, 4 video projects right now.
Wow.
So
they're all going to be good. Trust me, folks.
I have a feeling 2 of them are going to be good. The other
That's
2,
enough.
The other 2 that I'm doing without any help, they're going to be videos on YouTube. So check those out. Also, follow us.
I can help you if you want.
Follow us, if I get personal here, follow us on the Facebook page, dkvine.com/Facebook. I update this fucker every single day, and I've done this. I've had daily updates, I think, for 3.5 years now. So never miss a day. I somehow dredge up new content. A lot of it is
diligence.
Yeah, well, it's due diligence, Nick.
Even on days where you were sick as a dog like I am right now.
Yeah. you are sick right now, Nick. We should be open and honest.
So are you.
Audience. I am. I don't
You got
know.
the kissing disease.
I don't know if I have mono or if it's just chronic fatigue, but I am.
Or is it stereo? I don't know.
I prefer mono. It's just got it's as the artist intended. You know, you've got.
Yeah. It's
actually,
warmer.
I do treasure my Beatles in mono box set because it is the definitive way to listen to Sgt. Pepper. Speaking of which, we no longer have the Sgt. Pepper design skin for this season. We've upgraded to a new art museum motif. So
this year's model.
Anyway, yeah, follow us on Facebook. Really, we do a lot of cool things on there. We gave away 5 amiibos over the holidays, and just, you know, you have nostalgic dips in the past every day, but, you know, I also try to give analysts of news and current events on there as well. So check it out, dkvine.com/Facebook. As far as the conversation goes, you can always drop us a line on the DK Vine hotline. That's at 1-281-410-KONG. And Chad's not here right now to sing the song, so Nick, I know you have a sore throat. Would you want to sing the jingle?
What are the lyrics again? If you want
You got it.
If you want to call the conversation, call... What's the number?
1-281-410 and a word.
1-281-410 and a word.
5664.
5664.
All right. It's 1-281-410 Kong, but that Kong stands for 5664. Anyway.
They get it, Hyle. We have smart fans.
I don't know. They have
listeners.
smartphones, so I don't know if they know what that means anymore.
Yeah, true. Siri does everything for you nowadays.
Subscribe to the conversation on iTunes if that's your sort of thing. Give us a rating on iTunes while you're there. You can also follow the conversation on Stitcher, on SoundCloud, and on YouTube. You can also just...
And Kazaa.
Is it on Kazaa?
Oh, yeah. People are illegally getting this shit off of LimeWire, SoulSeek,
Heroes
Napster.
Of Kazaa.
Oh, yeah. Great game.
You can also just get the raw MP3 file from DK Vine if you want. So anyway, finally tell your friends about the show. Well, not finally, because there's one more thing. Hashtag bring back the spiders. In the last year, we've had an epidemic of fake news and trollish behavior online.
There we go.
It's become a really negative place. What I want to do is I want to bring back the fake news of my youth when the internet was but a young, suckling babe on the teat of the tech industry. I want to bring back...
Greenporn City? We're bringing that back?
I want to bring back the stories that would spread in email chains about spiders laying eggs in people's skin and then having those eggs hatch from their face in the middle of the night. I want to bring back those horrific stories. So,
wasn't that from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark?
Yeah, that was one of the stories, yeah. So... my goal this year is I want the only fake news to be about spiders laying eggs in people. Hashtag bring back the spiders. We promised we would make this a thing last season.
But not just any spiders. Dank-ass spiders with tennis shoes from DKC2.
That cool-ass spider with sneakers from DKC2. My favorite Facebook page.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
The guy who runs it's essentially a Squitter Facebook fan page, but the only messages the guy who runs it like types are like dank ass weed. And it's like, what the fuck is this?
Kids nowadays.
Good guy. My favorite Facebook page. Better than ours.
Oh yeah, more productive.
That dank ass weed makes him super productive.
Sometimes when you're halfway through like a magnum opus news post, you're like, I could really just have posted dank ass weed, but I went far.
Maybe we should just switch one day, and I will switch. See, I will let him run the DK Vine Facebook account for one day, and I will run his Facebook page for one day.
But Hyle, you said switch without snapping your fingers and disappearing.
Oh, I was gonna actually prepare like a wacky radio DJ who hosts the Morning Zoo Crew. I was going to prepare an audio sound clip of snapping fingers so I could play it every time we said switch this episode. Funny thing happened though, I forgot. So I'm going to try to snap my fingers right now. Hold on. I kind of did it.
Ooh, did you break a knuckle? Here, let me try.
Oh, very nice.
Use that.
All right. Well, it's going to. I've got it. I'm a proud man, so I've got to use my own finger snaps. Hold on. Ow!
Oh, I heard a bone break.
The Nintendo Switch. Ow! What did we think of the overall video presentation? If for some reason you're listening to this and you were not aware of this, Nintendo in Japan unveiled a lot of details about the Switch, including some of their launch titles and some of the games coming later this year.
Yeah.
This video presentation, it was kind of like an old style E3 stage show like Nintendo used to do before they said we're just going to do directs, but the kind of thing that Sony, Microsoft, Ubisoft, and others still do to this day. So this was in Japan, which meant they were doing it, I think, in the morning at some point. I don't really know, but it was at 11 p.m. Eastern time. Nick, it was at 9 p.m. for you because you're in Arizona, 8 p.m. Pacific. So for those of us on the East, at least, this was pretty late. If you're in the UK, it was 4 a.m., and I know our own Matt Corna just slept through it, which...
You didn't miss much.
Well,
in a way, he missed a lot.
He missed a lot, because I couldn't imagine then going back online.
Imagine him waking up in the morning and seeing the staff chat with words like New Donk City.
Well, imagine going to DK Vine and seeing the news article I wrote, which the headline just says New Donk City.
Yeah.
So
just saying it is fun.
I remember Joe Mudd, who is also a DK Vine staffer, Laps DK Vine staffer, who has been on this show many, many times. He also slept through it, and I think he saw the news on my Facebook post about it, and he just typed in all caps, "What?" without any punctuation.
That's a good reaction.
So a little insight into how Nick and I watched this. We watched it doing a live call with our Inner Circle, which is a Patreon tier for $25 a month, where some of our readers have a ongoing Skype chat with the DK Vine staff, and we show them previews of things we've got in the works, give them first glimpses. I'm just shilling right now. I should really stop. But we were doing a live call so we could all react together with what was going on, and it was surprisingly negative. For once, I was one of the most positive people.
Yeah, you were trying to keep the light alive.
I was trying to be open-minded about it.
So was I at first, and then, I would see all these developers show up that I was excited to see, and then after 10 minutes of them just still talking and then leaving, I was just like, okay. Yeah. So they're just showing us, we have third-party people, we promise. We have nothing to show for it, but we have them.
Yeah, so for one thing, they tried to give this, before the show started, they tried to give this impression that it was in some sort of rave club or something. They had all the laser lights, they had a DJ, but then they had all of these stoic Japanese businessmen sitting in the audience.
With really tight pants.
Yeah, but none of these businessmen seemed to be smiling or interacting at all. They were all just stoically sitting there.
Oh, yes, DJ, yes, dance, yes.
It reminded me of, kind of like Microsoft's usual aesthetic for these things, but with a Nintendo business crowd instead. It was.
I'm just glad they got famed Mario-themed DJ Deadmau5er to play, because he was pretty rad.
I get that reference. So anyway, yeah, but you're right, Nick. There was a drag in the middle portion near the end when they stopped showing game footage and they just had like the head of studios come out and basically talk for 10 minutes without any cutaway. Since we're watching this with the English voiceover,
it was even weirder.
The person who was dubbing it just put no enthusiasm into it. And granted,
hello, yes, Sega still exists, and we promise we will exist in the coming year. Good night.
Granted, you don't have much time to, bring some
flare it up
emotion to it. You have to quickly translate. So
Yeah.
I understand that, but good God, it was a slog. And this is where, like, I think a lot of us in the chat turned against the event itself, not the Switch.
Oh yeah, not the content,
Yeah.
just the presentation felt like a funeral at a certain point.
Yeah, it did. So it kind of lacked the liveliness of Reggie being on stage at E3 with all the corny dad jokes.
Yeah, and then even the Reggie moment was cringingly bad. I mean, it's just like, hey guys, remember me? I'm Reggie. Hey, remember Miyamoto? He's here. Hey, remember the Zelda guy? We're still all alive and happy to see you. Back to you, rave funeral.
Yeah, Reggie was trying to bring about the dad humor / forced memes that we've come to loathe. But the actual event in Japan, it was more Japanese humor, which I fully admit I don't really get half the time, or 75% of the time, which, whatever.
It depends. When it's Suda51 appearing out of nowhere with throwing up the devil horns, that was awesome. But then, once again, he just spoke for 8 minutes about how No More Heroes is coming back and showed one picture that looked like it was a fan art. So, yeah. But anyway, that was like my one moment of excitement, and it didn't last long.
I liked when they would bring out some English personalities, like here's Todd Howard of Bethesda on a pre-tape.
Yeah.
And,
here's a game that doesn't really shouldn't excite anyone that's been alive in the past 5 years.
Yeah, here's Skyrim, finally on Nintendo. Fuck you. So
finally portable for 2.5 to 6 hours. Most likely 2.5.
Yeah, we'll get into that. So before we get into the actual Switch console, we have a series of calls to take from one Mr. Etchy, first name Metch, and he's an Inner Circle member. I should come clean. He, as far as my recollection goes, made this call while we were all in the Inner Circle live call together. So
yeah,
he was on
we
a
didn't
Skype
see it
call.
coming.
He was on a Skype call, and then he picked up his phone and called the DK Vine hotline while he was talking with us. So with that in mind, that's what this call is. So I'm going to play it right now for you. This was, I think, right either in the middle of the event. No, it was right after the event ended, and we were still in the live call. So this is a hot take from Mechi. Here you go.
Hey, it's the Mitch, and as you might realize, Hyle, since I'm calling this while you're on the thing with me, I really didn't like this presentation, and it was the most disappointing hour of my life. Nick Prol, who you just heard, I think, said hi, and Carla said that it wasn't the worst because I spent it with you guys, so that's true in a way. But anyway, that was the most disappointing Nintendo thing ever, and I'll tell you why. The big reason why, there's no ducks, like Carla just said, which you heard, obviously. But it was just awful. Like, I just couldn't understand why they would do this. But literally, just here's what I would tell everyone: just go to Disneyland. That's better use of your money, or buy an Xbox One. But actually, just go to Disneyland. Get a Disneyland annual pass, even if you don't live in California. Just go to Disneyland instead of. Okay, yes, Carla, I know that, but okay. Nick, Nick, you suck. That's what you said right now. But anyway, there's only 2 good games. Mario, which you guys are getting all excited about just because you saw the word Donkey Kong somewhere. But
wow.
Yes. It's great, isn't it, Hyle? Okay, but my question is, for the show, my question, of course, is, my question is, if there's one thing that could make the Switch presentation worse, what would it be? In my case, I say it would have been mentioning Smash Brothers. Since Smash Brothers is the worst thing ever. Okay, bye.
So that was the first call from Mechi.
Riveting stuff.
he was very negative about the Switch presentation and the Switch at this point in time.
Yeah.
And you see, he even asked us a question: what would have made it worse? Not what would have made it better or what did we like. What would have made it worse? And he said a new version of Smash, which is rumored that we were going to get basically Smash 4. But
no such thing appeared.
No, not yet, at least. So no, like, deluxe Smash 4 with all the DLC added and maybe some new characters. But, I'm kind of relieved I didn't see Smash 2, Memechi. I really, seriously, I am, because I'm still burned out over the Smash Wars. And I don't need that wound jab. It's just finally healed. It's a grisly scar, but at least, the bleeding has stopped. So I don't really need to have that period in my life revisited. But Mitch, I just got to bring up real quick. I thought when you were interacting with us in the Inner Circle call, I thought you were actually going to hold your phone up to the speakers, so our responses to you during the call would be picked up on your phone call.
That would have been good comedy, but no.
Instead, it just sounds like you're a madman. But
ducks.
Yeah, so, you're more Jared Leto than Mark Hamill, but maybe you'll at least get up to the Nicholson level with this next call you called in with a few minutes later.
Forget everything I said. I'm so hyped now. Puyo Puyo Tetris is going to be on the Switch. Yes! The trailer just came out. I'm okay. Oh, just coming soon. It's not coming out of release. Never mind. Oh. Okay, sorry. Bye.
So,
wow. That was a bigger twist than the Crying Game and Sleepaway Camp combined.
Yeah, that was essentially a woman with a dong, essentially, or a new dong, you might say, a new donk. So
New Donk City.
Yeah, Memechi got really excited because on Nintendo's YouTube channel, they put up some trailers of stuff they didn't really focus on during the Switch presentation, and that Tetris game was part of it. And it's kind of game that's right up Memechi's alley, assuming, it's
bright,
not
shiny
related.
colors and fast things.
It's not duck related, but he likes that kind of game. So he's very happy about that. So
you probably make a duck out of the little Puyo guys if you tried hard enough.
I wouldn't know. It's not my kind of thing, Nick.
No,
sorry.
me neither.
But
it's not my lifestyle.
Nothing wrong with that lifestyle.
Yeah.
It is 2017. But I remember then in the live call, he then started making preparations to pre-order the Switch that moment. So
yeah.
It's amazing how quickly he turned on a dime there. But after I went to bed, apparently there was one more call from the match.
No.
So
this is an emotional roller coaster.
Let's see how this trilogy ends, shall we?
Hey, so I know I just sent a call that said that I was super excited for Switch now because of Puyo Puyo Tetris, but I just realized that Puyo Puyo Tetris might just be multi-plat, so hype's back down to 0. That's not good. Yeah.
Okay. So, no longer hyped about the Switch. Thanks, Memechi.
This has been your Mech Hype update.
That was the most stirring, performance piece on bipolar disorder that I've ever witnessed. That is exactly how it feels.
It was accurate.
You've got crippling lows, manic highs, and then crippling lows before you know it again. Oh, man.
And you see ducks everywhere, apparently.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Memechi. I'm sorry. But hey, if it is multi-platform, then pick up an Xbox One. If you don't already have, do you have an Xbox One? I don't know, but you got to get Sea of Thieves when it comes out. You've got to get Sea of Thieves. It's amazing. But we're not talking about Sea of Thieves this week, are we? We're talking about the Switch. So let's talk about the console itself and the controllers. They're not controllers. The Joy-Con trademark.
Yeah, the Joy-Con.
Which
It's convention for Ian Curtis fans.
I used to roll my eyes at this kind of level of corporate branding. I was like, oh, we got to brand this. Oh, it's not just a controller. Everybody has a controller. We're Nintendo. We have the Joy-Con. It'll
probably catch on, though.
I kind of get it. I mean, this is something that now that DK Vine is more of a business, in quotation marks, I kind of get the whole idea of branding and making it your own kind of thing. But Joy-Con, really? Okay, whatever. I'm not going to get mad about this.
You do you, Nintendo.
I would have gotten mad about this kind of petty thing 15 years ago. Not anymore.
Don't have the energy for it.
So we already talked about the controller essentially when we did our Switch episode back in the fall, the October reveal. But, it's the same thing. It's essentially a cross between a Wiimote and the gamepad. It's taking the best functions of both and not limiting it to one or the other. So one thing that really caught my interest, though, was the whole feedback promises they made, like how the feedback responses. The analogy they used was, imagine the feeling of having a glass filled with ice, 1 cube, 2 cubes, 3 cubes, and then filled with water. And imagine that feeling then being replicated in your controller. So the fact that it will make you feel like it's physically getting heavier, or
is that what they were saying?
Getting jostled around. That's the I mean, unless they're just completely lying, that was what they were trying to say. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So that's impressive. I mean, I don't know if that technology would ever be used. And
how can something just become heavier?
I don't know.
Little spout inside shoots liquid lead into it or something.
I flunked out of all my STEM courses, or this is STEAM now, STEM. Anyway, I'm a fine arts guy here, Nick. I don't know. So, but it's impressive. I mean, and again, Nintendo has always dropped the ball. They've come up with really cool innovations. I mean, I remember how impressive the gamepad was when they first revealed that, and thinking, oh, imagine all the stuff they can do with the gamepad. And it's just essentially a bulky, heavier controller that sees no
can't
real
reach
use.
very far.
It's a second screen that you never really want to use. So I'm skeptical that this is ever going to really be utilized. Like, imagine that if you're playing, say, Donkey Kong Country Returns 3, Baja Blast, but I actually had a dream the other night before the Switch presentation that they showed off a new Donkey Kong Country game by Retro, and it was called Donkey Kong Country Banana Republic. And I think, I mean, how could they not use that name eventually? That is a perfect name for a Donkey Kong game.
Yeah, if they want to get sued.
So, well, I mean, there is the store Banana Republic, but it's
they
also
can make it an RPG, Knights of the Banana Republic.
Well, it's a term, though. I mean, it's not like they're calling it Donkey Kong Country Tommy Bahama. It's actually a term that the clothing chain appropriated for themselves.
Abercrombie and Switch.
Did you hear American Apparel is going out of business?
You don't say.
Yeah, that skeevy-ass store that only sought out to hire attractive employees.
How dare they?
Trained. Yeah. And use like over-sexualized ads, and yeah.
That's why they wouldn't hire me. Sons of bitches.
Strangely enough, Hooters did, though.
Yeah, I know. I've been working there for quite a while now. As a janitor.
Surprisingly, you still get a lot of tips.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like, imagine playing a Donkey Kong Country game, and retro-style Donkey Kong Country game, and you have got Donkey Kong, and then imagine Diddy, Dixie, or Cranky hop up on your back, and the weight of the controller gets marginally heavier when that happens.
That seems really gimmicky, but it could be cool.
I mean, back once upon a time, rumble packs seemed gimmicky, and now it's just an essential part of
They
controllers.
still are, kind of.
Well, okay, but when I'm playing Xbox One, I don't notice the rumble so much. It just,
that's why it's needless, because we don't even notice it.
No. It's a good thing. It's part of the sensory.
I guess it's subtle
deprivation.
now.
Yeah, it's not just like
immersion.
It's not like the N64 where it just violently vibrated, and you're like, well, what happens if I put it on my penis? How would that feel? When you're a teenager, obviously.
Of course.
You can't see it right now, but my eyes are shifting back and forth.
I could feel it.
You could feel it in the what the fuck is it called? The Joy-Con. You could feel it in the Joy-Con. So, which ones are you gonna get, Nick? The standard blackish gray, or are you gonna get the neon pink and blue?
That's tough. I might get a black and a pink. Switch it up.
No, it's not bundled like that. You have to buy both and then switch.
Oh, I'll buy both and then switch them out.
Yeah, it's only what
I made
$600 US. Yeah,
it's worth it.
So the other aspect of the controller, the Joy-Con. Excuse me. Oh my God, I'm sorry, Nintendo. The other aspect of the Joy-Con is the shit battery life. Let's just say it. 2.5 to 6 hours, depending on the game you're playing. And I don't know about you, Nick, but again, I'm comparing it to the Xbox One here because I own an Xbox One and I play quite a bit. I play the Wii U a fair amount too, but the Xbox One I can play for hours and hours and hours and hours and not worry about battery life. You're going to essentially have your controller die with each play session, assuming it's...
I don't think that's what it meant. I think it meant when you're out and about using the screen on it, that's the battery life for that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean...
Because that'd be lame if your battery drained that fast when you're just playing at home.
Yeah, but even that's pretty shit. I mean, that's essentially Game Gear levels. I mean...
Oh, no, it's still shitty. I'm just saying I don't think they were talking about battery, because there probably will be a wire so that it never runs out when you're at home or something, like PS4 has.
What we have an update. We have an update in our chat for the $5 and up patrons who are listening to the live stream version of this show. We have an update from Mamechi. Okay. Okay, I know. Sit down. So he found out that the Xbox One version isn't coming to the US. All right, so it's only coming to Switch and PS4. We're talking about the Tetris game he was very excited about. So it means he ended up pre-ordering the Switch after all. So we have the dramatic conclusion of the Will Mamechi be excited about the Switch trilogy of calls. So
yeah, I mean, he'll still get it and then not be excited about it, but it's good to know.
And Carla Gurney is also in the chat right now, and she wants to clarify that it is the battery life of the Switch itself.
What does that mean? Not the controller?
Apparently.
What is the Switch? What is the... After all this, I still don't know.
You still don't know what the Switch is, yeah. It's a shit battery life regardless, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just going to play it fully tethered, fully wired up at all times, because if I'm going to get immersed in a game, I don't want to worry about my battery life.
Yeah.
And you know, granted, I know that just drains your battery life when you do have to uncord it, you know, but it just weakens your battery. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to just sit there every 2.5 hours and, I have to recharge my battery. That's just torture. Yeah. Okay, that's on the negative side of things. Let's talk about something really cool.
Arms.
We're going to get to arms, you goddamn bastard. I know you want to turn this into the Armversation, and you're done with the whole Donkey Kong and Rare and Platonic focus.
I'm sick to death of it. I want to change. I want a breath of fresh air. I want arms, goddammit.
No, the cool thing, besides arms, is for the first time ever, a Nintendo console is not region locked.
No, which is awesome.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is something that gamers, especially hardcore Nintendo files, have wanted for years. And
means I can play ARMS Densetsu 3 or whatever the Japanese version of ARMS is.
So even if Mamechi's Tetris game wasn't coming to the U.S., he could still, order it and have it sent over and still play it on his American Switch. So, I mean, this is something that also raises some questions because usually, as far as DK Vine is concerned, we only follow games canonically if they come out in the West because of region locking was our big issue for it. But now, if let's say the Kongs appear in some obscure Mario game like Mario Picross or something, or I don't know, like something that only comes out in Japan, what now? Will we actually have to cover it because our Switches can play it? We just have to get the game, and we do live in a global community now. So I don't know. This raises some questions for the DKU rules moving forward. Starting in 2017, do we start accepting Japanese games in the canon?
Yeah. Does that Kremling dating simulator count now? That's the question.
Oh, Nick, you're never going to see the Kremlings besides on street signs.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll table this discussion for later, along with Tracky Train. We'll figure out what the legal
fuck
status
is Tracky Train.
Let's not go down that track again. We'll figure out the legal status of Japanese releases here. But I want to take another call now about the Switch. So sit back and enjoy us not talking for a blissful 1 minute and 4 seconds.
Hey guys, Trainer Derek from the forums. So how about that Switch presentation? I went into it thinking I'm not too big on the hardware. I can't see myself carrying the tablet around much because it's portable, but it's not portable like a 3DS is. But I figured, hey, it's Nintendo. The games will be good. And during the featurette they did, I had this sinking realization throughout that the hardware ended up being a little cooler than I originally thought with the new info. But the games that they were showing, like Mario looks nice, but it's no DK. And, of course I went and got in line to pre-order one anyway because I'm a slave to the big N. I never even noticed the new Donk City stuff. I thought you guys were kidding when you first made the Facebook post. So at least we have that. So yeah, I'm a little liking the hardware a little more. The games were kind of crap. I'm not super into Zelda, but, I feel like that's going to be the general sentiment on the site. All right, as always, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you for the call, Derek. It's a shame. I know. I think it was Sean from the DK Vine forum community, Sean King, who said that anymore it's gotten to the point where if you're not a Mario or Zelda fan, you're
out of luck.
Yeah, you're basically like it's assumed that if you are a self-professed Nintendo fan, that automatically means Mario and Zelda. So
Pokemon.
Pokemon's kind of not even barely Nintendo anymore. Nintendo's only got a small stake in it, and I feel like Pokemon does what Pokemon does. Pokemon does what Nintendo don't, as Sega would put it.
Huh, I guess.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, Pokemon, but then you've got Fire Emblem, and now Splatoon is everywhere. But I feel the same way. I like Zelda generally, but I'm not a diehard Zelda fan. My brother-in-law is a diehard Zelda fan, interestingly enough, which makes family get-togethers now quite awkward. It's like Sharks and the Jets, But,
it always gives you fun. Rupees for Christmas.
My mother-in-law for Christmas made me Donkey Kong pillowcases.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's pillowcases with little illustrations of Donkey Kong and Diddy on them. Which,
did she draw them herself? Or?
No. It's officially licensed Nintendo fabric. She found. And then she also made Zelda pillowcases as well. So
those would be good for, filling with barbells and killing Metroid fans.
Oh, yeah. I like Metroid now. I didn't tell you
I love
this.
Metroid. I'm just kidding.
The Geek Critique, our good friend Josh from the Geek Critique, his YouTube channel, check it out, by the way, but he just did in December a
great
series,
Metroid retrospective.
Fucking fantastic about Metroid. And I've always respected Metroid, but only like on an intellectual level. I've never really
Oh, it's rad.
I never really enjoyed a Metroid game from start to finish. I quite dismissively, Chad and I have always said our favorite Metroid game is Galactic Pinball, which technically is a Metroid game, but it's kind of that smug sense of, oh yes, well my favorite Metroid game is a game that Metroid fans don't even like.
Yeah, or no exists.
So what Josh from the Geek Critique did though was he explained in just a captivating series of videos, because he was kind of in the same boat as me. And he explained what makes Metroid so special. And he did a basically video series on all 4 of the 2D Metroids plus Metroid Zero Mission. And oh my God, I was kind of blown away. And I
awesome.
got it. I really got it. And so I'm kind of on a...
You start playing one?
I don't have time. Dick, I don't have time. I run DK Vine.
Oh, come on. You'll fit it in bed.
In bed, yeah. Hey, Michelle, I'm sorry I just spent 17 hours working on DK Vine. Now I've crawled in bed with you. I'm going to play Metroid.
Yeah, you have one of those wife things. I forgot.
I'm trying to multitask my life. I'm trying to be a good husband and a good site administrator for the world's largest Donkey Kong universe.
Just have her read to you like the walkthrough of one of the games as a bedtime story. And then Samus opened the door using the missile.
I don't need that because that was what Josh did. Seriously, check those out.
Yeah. They're great.
They are some of the best video game videos I've ever seen on YouTube. I can't sing their praises enough. So anyway, Derek, the games were not great. Yes, the games were not great if you're not necessarily a fan of these properties, but I can sit back and say this was a hell of a more impressive group of, I don't want to say launch titles because they're not all launch titles, but essentially launch titles, first-year titles than the Wii U had. Mario looks so much more impressive than the new Super Mario Brothers game they brought out for the Wii U. You've got Zelda right out the gate, which granted is a Wii U game that, didn't make the cut for the Wii U and got delayed to the Switch, but and you've got a new Splatoon. And considering going into this thing, I thought the most or half of all games we were going to see were going to be ports of Wii U games. This is a lot more impressive. It might not be my taste necessarily.
Exactly,
I can recognize Nintendo's got a much more killer lineup.
I'm happy for everyone that was really excited by it. It's just
absolutely. It's
the most exciting thing to me was Shin Megami Tensei 5, and that was like a 5-second trailer. So
I don't even have that listed on our show notes because it barely registered.
That was my favorite thing in the whole show, but oh well, that's me.
Well, let's talk about some of the games real quick. We're just going to blow through these because these aren't really related to the DKU, but I know you want to spend some time on ARMS, even though you're sick as a dog right now. You have to talk about ARMS. But first, let's go.
Not really.
Let's go with 1-2 Switch.
All right.
And this
exists next.
When the trailer started, everybody in the inner circle call thought it was going to be Wild Gunman.
They're back.
Nintendo property.
It's back.
Well, here's the thing: Wild Gunman is a Nintendo property that has achieved some notoriety in.
They brought back
culture.
Duck Hunt and Smash.
Well, I mean, Wild Gunman's got some notoriety. It was an NES Zapper game, the light gun. But it was Back to the Future Part 2. It infamously featured Wild Gunman when Marty went to Cafe 80s in 2015, and he saw Wild Gunman, and Elijah Wood, as a little kid, was there, and he said, "Oh, it's one of those video games my dad always talked about." Or my dad talked about these, because, video games wouldn't exist in 2015 because that's old news.
Of course.
So, Marty showed them how to play it, and then Elijah Wood said, "You mean you've got to use your hands? That's a baby's toy." So, Wild Gunman's kind of got some notoriety in the West because of that. It's prolonged its name recognition far past the actual game's release.
I wonder what young Elijah Wood would have to say about the Switch.
Yeah, you mean it feels like you're holding a cup full of ice cubes?
Can you bring it to a rooftop yuppie party? Can you play it during basketball breaks?
That's a diversion for fetuses.
That's a zygote's plaything.
1-2 Switch is kind of, I guess, their answer to Wii Sports.
Wii Sports.
Essentially, they clearly they want to tap back into that magic of 10 years ago.
But did they show any lesbian grandmas playing it? I don't think so.
Why lesbian grandmas, Nick?
Because they showed that for Wii.
Were they scissoring grandmas? I mean, what?
No, but they were like, I remember distinctly like a
Those
very
scissors
progressive.
don't really work anymore. You need some WD-40.
Oh, no. But I remember a very progressive Nintendo ad during the time of the Wii, and it was like two grandmas who seemingly were a couple playing it together. Maybe I imagined that.
Were they pleasuring each other with the Wiimote? You know,
For Christ's sake.
What? I mean, you bring up lesbian grandmas. I want to know the details, Nick. I think our listeners want to know the details.
All right. Yes, they had the nunchuck in a questionable position.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So 1-2 Switch, it's more of a party game, I think, than Wii Sports. Instead of just here's bowling, but on your TV. Lap it up, Middle America. You've got games like Rock, Paper, Scissors reinterpreted. I mean, you've got the Western shootout game. You've got
pretty much just games you'll look like an idiot playing.
Yeah, you got a game where a samurai swinging a sword, and you've got to stop it with your bare fist, which the Mythbusters debunked. You can't actually do it.
And all of these, which you could just do with your imagination and have the same effect.
Yeah, well,
play charades.
I think the game is definitely more appealing broadly than Nintendo Land was, and I know Nintendo Land's got its fans, but I don't know. This game is not for me. I like something a little bit more immersive and engaging than party mini games that aren't even connected to a greater narrative. Like I can even handle Mario Party, but the
ad for it made me want to commit second-degree manslaughter.
The ad was atrocious. If you're not kind of a Nintendo zombie or somebody who is a lot more permissive of cheese,
fetus.
I am not somebody who labels himself a cynic anymore, but I'm still cynical about some things, and I still loathe some things. When I go to the movie theater, Nick, I am always just cringing and cursing at the screen. Whenever they do the pre-movie trivia and the commercials before the trailers start, and it's like
make sure you put your phone away, honey, or you're gonna get in trouble, cracker.
The M&M commercial where they're like, oh, they're in a movie, but they're not in a movie. It's actually a commercial for M&Ms, but it's not a commercial for M&Ms. It's a commercial to tell you to put your phone away. But I hate like the fake movie trailer kind of. It's like dumb humor designed for dumb people to lap it up and make themselves feel like they're
for people that laugh so hard they choke on their popcorn.
Yeah, just popcorn shoveling.
But then they have no one to save them because they came alone and they're a mouth breathing fool.
I am cynical about something still, quite
honestly.
I
mean, you're quoted earlier. Here's bowling on your TV. Lap it up, Middle America. Non-cynic Hyle Russell.
God, when did I become such an elitist? I don't know. But yeah, sitting in my ivory tower on DK vibe. I don't know. The 1-2 Switch commercial was off-putting. Not commercial, trailer, whatever. Was off-putting to me, and it was just... It was like a combination of quirky Japanese humor and just dumb schlock that I don't find personally appealing.
It's like an iTunes commercial or something.
Even iTunes commercials, though, are better than this. But look, I think 1-2 Switch, for what it is, it's definitely a step up from what Nintendo had on the Wii U, which, again, was Nintendo Land, and then just retreads of Wii Sports.
Except, according to Carla in the chat, it's not a pack-in game. It's a full-priced game, and it's $80 in Canada.
Which I'm fine with. I'm not necessarily it being $80 in Canada, but I'm fine with the notion that it's not a pack-in because I don't necessarily want to own this game, and I don't want the price of the Switch when I eventually get it.
Be like U2 all over again. forcing you to own something you don't want.
By the way, I am not pre-ordering a Switch. For one thing, I don't necessarily have an extra $300 to spend right now. I don't know how so many gamers are running out and buying it. Gamers who are,
That's what you'll beat Zelda in a month, and then it'll just sit there gathering dust like my PS4 did for like a year and a half.
There's nothing I have to have ASAP. And the one game that really, really interests me from a Donkey Kong Universe fan perspective, I don't have to worry about until at least November. So I'm good with no Switch for now. So anyway, let's get to ARMS, Nick. You want to talk about ARMS?
All right, let's talk about ARMS
discussion. So I thought this was going to be Teleroboxer, and I kept bringing up Teleroboxer, and nobody knew what I was talking about. Teleroboxer was a Virtual Boy launch title, which essentially looked a lot like ARMS, and it was robot, like Rock'em Sock'em robots, and it was a first-person perspective, and your arms extended out. You didn't have visible arms. You had floating hands that could just then go back and forth.
Maybe it's sort of inspired by it, kind of like how King of Swing was inspired by Clu Clu Land and other things like that.
Maybe, but that would require Nintendo to even acknowledge the Virtual Boy outside of snarky self-deprecation, which they don't even like to do that much. So
they skipped over it during their history of consoles thing.
Yeah, that really kind of rubbed me the wrong way too. It's like, just own it. It's been 20 years. Own it. It was fine for what it was.
They could even say a BS thing like Nintendo even bridged the gap to virtual reality long before anyone else, or something like that.
Right, right. Spin it so you can say, the world wasn't ready for the Virtual Boy.
If they can spin having literally no launch games to show us besides Zelda, then they can spin that.
Well, look. The Virtual Boy, as I've mentioned on the Kongversation numerous times, is vastly underrated, and there are some quality titles for it. So I don't go with this notion. This again, and I'm pretty smug. I just ranted against Middle America for laughing at M&M commercials before movies, but I this smug mentality of, oh, I know what the Virtual Boy is. Oh, it made you go blind, and oh, they just didn't have anything for it. Most of you haven't played the Virtual Boy. If you played the Virtual Boy for an extended period of time and you still feel that way, that's fine, because at least it's your authentic opinion. But
because you're blind and I'm not. Ha
ha. I hate bandwagon jumping, and especially bandwagon jumping from people who don't really educate themselves on what something is. It's like the whole all the good people at Rare left, which thankfully has been slowly dispelled. You don't really see that too much since Sea of Thieves started gaining traction and people have been placated with ukulele. So it's like actually a really happy time, harmonious time in the Rare fan community right now. We got Rare and Playtonic, and the two fan bases have kind of come together a little bit. So
yeah, they're kind of holding hands and crossing arms. Hey, ARMS. Let's talk about ARMS.
I don't have anything to say about ARMS. What do you want to talk about ARMS?
At first I was like, oh, this is a new IP. Cool. Actually, something original for once. And then I was like, oh, it's just a long-distance boxing game. Okay. Yeah, I kind of like the characters a little bit, but...
It looks like boxing, but harder. Now,
also, the fact that when it ended, it was just called ARMS. It's just kind of hilarious.
Yeah. I wonder if Little Mac will be, like, in the game somewhere. Because,
like Long Mac.
Punch-Out fans must be furious right now. It's like having a minecart thing in a game that isn't Donkey Kong. It's just like, hey, that's our thing. You've stolen our thing.
Well, it's a spiritual successor to Punch-Out. Plus, they just got like a pretty well fleshed out legitimate Smash character. So.
Okay, sure. Yeah. I don't know. I'm so used to being such a devotee of one and a half Nintendo series, that I just transpose my general bitterness on others unfairly, perhaps.
Perhaps.
All right. Well, there's also Splatoon 2. Brand new game. I thought this was going to be Splatoon like Deluxe.
Deluxe, yeah. They should have called it Splatoon.
Yeah. It's a missed opportunity. It should have been Splat Splat.
Because people are already calling it that, and they will continue to.
Well, just like people call it just Smash 4, but which I think was the intention, but it seems like Nintendo's kind of shied away from it, even if it was the intention. Anyway, Splatoon is still a game I haven't really delved into, and people, everybody's telling me, what do you mean, Hyle, you would love Splatoon. Splatoon seems like your thing.
Why?
It's got so much lore, man. It's got so much... Yeah, okay, I like lore.
You're not really a shooter type of competitive guy.
Not really. I like lore, but I also have to be interested in the world itself. Yeah. And Splatoon didn't really capture my eye in any great way. And I'm not.
I enjoyed it quite a bit for the half a month I played it. I never really went back, and I heard that they really fleshed it out a lot more. So I should try it again. But it seems a little early for a sequel. Maybe it's just me, but.
Well, it seems early in this kind of generation or two where game development takes, 3 years at least. It's only been 2 years since Splatoon, so I don't know. I wish we could have that kind of turnaround with Donkey Kong Country, but Splatoon sold a hell of a lot more copies than Tropical Freeze, so there you go.
Yeah, but I'm not anti-Splatoon.
No, I'm not trying to make this us versus them. I'm just saying...
the more diversity in original IPs, even though it's a sequel, but it's recent enough that it still feels a little fresh. It's not Zelda, Mario, so.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't help but see Splatoon as kind of the new Pikmin, not in gameplay, but just this new Nintendo IP that kind of took everything by storm for a brief window of time and then just kind of atrophied, and you still get then eventually you get
Pikmin's very alive in my heart still. One of my favorites ever.
Pikmin has fans on DK Vine, but and it still gets new releases. We've got a new Pikmin game coming out, a new kind of gameplay style,
I'm
but
not sold on that.
It's just one of those things that you get slow dollops of new games over time, but I think the initial Splatoon mania will wane over time, and you won't see the turnaround of sequels.
But then there'll be
so fast.
Splatoon nostalgia, like how there is for the GameCube era and stuff. People are like, remember Splatoon? Which
GameCube
was sort of
nostalgia. God, that's so weird that GameCube nostalgia is a thing already. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
I feel so old, Nick. I'm so old and decrepit. I'm just gonna waste away to nothing one day.
All that will be left, your arms.
Why is that the last thing?
I don't know.
Are you saying because they're so muscular because of all the intense masturbation I did with that Rumble Pack when I was a teenager?
No, from all the playing of Nintendo's ARMS, their hit new IP.
More like arse, am I right? Fire Emblem. Ooh.
Next.
Did you know Team Ninja wanted to do because this is Fire Emblem Warriors. It's just Hyrule Warriors. Well, what if we did that with Fire Emblem? Which okay, I guess
makes sense.
Did you know they didn't want to do Fire Emblem? They wanted to do Star Fox.
Oh, who shot him down?
Nintendo.
Oh, yay!
They said, no, you don't want to do Star Fox. You want to do Fire Emblem. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Nintendo.
You don't want to do Dinosaur Planet. You want to do Star Fox.
Star Fox Warriors would have had Crystal in it. It would have had Tricky. You look at Hyrule Warriors and how it celebrates the totality of all Zelda.
Yeah, it would have had Shabunga.
Shabunga! It would have had Shabunga. And Nintendo knew that. And they said, no.
Nope.
DK Vine Hall of Fame 2014 winner Shabunga? No, thank you.
I can
we
see
don't
it now.
Want Shabunga in our games.
Miyamoto's like, yes, Star Fox Warriors, this could be really good. Wait a second. Shabunga? And then they just shake their head silently. He goes, no Shabunga. And then he slams the door.
I don't have anything to say about Fire. Well, Fire Emblem Warriors, it was just like a 15-second tease, but I remember everybody in the Inner Circle call groaned because we were. It's a trope at this point. Nintendo is just madly in love with Fire Emblem.
And I said at the time, like,
the market's there or not.
I am so tired and so pretty put off by the anime style, but there are some of my favorite games of all time that have that style, so I don't hate all anime things. I just, and Fire Emblem, in high school, I remember being like, oh, that's what these Melee characters are from. It's some sort of cult hit Japan-only game. It seemed kind of cool and interesting at the time. But now, I guess ever since Awakening and other things came out, I'm so sick of it. Mm-hmm. Do people even truly like it, or do they just like the way the characters look?
Oh, they like it, especially since there's like dating simulators in the most recent one.
But it seems like a lot of the fans that like it wouldn't normally play other like chess-style strategy turn-based type of things.
It's the call of Nintendo, man. I don't know. I mean, I played the Game Boy Advance game, just called Fire Emblem here in the West, the first one that came out in the West. I liked it, but it's also kind of one of those things where
that was before it got tiresome.
Well, I was like, okay, I played it. I don't really want to play the sequel though, because it's just, I don't know. It's unfair to say it's more of the same, because what is not more of the same when it comes to sequels? But
the art style certainly took directions that just weren't really my style of anime art, really.
Yeah, it's just going to be one of those things where it was just, okay. Like, I like the medieval kind of fantasy setting, but again, the anime style is not my preferred aesthetic. So
yeah, it all depends on the context of the game.
If it was more like Lord of the Rings kind of Tolkien inspired style versus just the anime style, it would kind of fill a niche, I think. But Nintendo's just got a glut of anime style games right now, which it's kind of been the trend of the last, decade, half, where it feels like Nintendo's been less and less.
I mean, all the great Nintendo games, technically, if you look at their artwork, are anime. I mean, they're Japanese cartoons, but they had weird quirkiness to them before. Now it's all just the same. There was kind of a
Nintendo style that kind of transcended borders. It wasn't Japanese, it wasn't American, it was Nintendo.
And it wasn't just pretty boys and sexy people,
Right. But
anyway,
I'm happy for the Fire Emblem fans. I guess, they had it worse than us for many years, and now they're just like pigs in a trough.
Yeah.
All right. The Zelda. What do you think about Breath of the Wild? We saw a long trailer for it with a lot of cutscenes. It's kind of funny how the last half of the trailer just seemed to all be cinematics.
It
versus
didn't affect me whatsoever.
Footage.
Seemed like it was trying really hard to be overly emotional about a story we don't even know yet. So it's really just Zelda crying a lot.
It got very, again, anime. It's funny, the cinematics seem a lot more anime than the actual in-game art style. I don't know. This looks like it's the most intriguing Zelda in years for me. I'm going to play it eventually, but I'll play it when I get the Switch. But I'm not going to get the Switch on launch because of Zelda.
I'm sure it'll be great. It's Zelda. It's just Zelda's never been one of those ones where if I see a trailer for it, I'm going to freak out unless there's something really new in it, and there's nothing really new in this one. So
here's the thing: if I had more time to actually play video games beyond what we cover on DK Vine, I would probably definitely play the hell out of this. But I don't really have time, so I can't really afford to care about it right now, which is it's terrible to say, but I don't know.
Well, you're not a diehard Zelda fan anyway, like you said, so it's not. You can pick it up whenever you want. It doesn't matter when you come to it.
All right. Well, we're going to take 2 calls right now, and then we're beginning into the main event, the DKU topics, of which there's only 2, but the one is weird as fuck. So I'm looking forward to it. All right. First call. You're on the air.
What up? So, okay. You guys are probably already going to get calls about the references in Super Mario Odyssey, new Donk City, City Street, Brother Bear Boulevard, all that stuff. So I'm not going to ask about that. What I am going to ask about is the new game ARMS. Is it just me? Or would Linky Kong be like the perfect bonus unlockable character? Kind of like how in Punch-Out for Wii you fight Donkey Kong. He's a secret bonus boss at the end of that game. I haven't actually played that game, but that's what I've heard. But what if you could fight Lanky Kong in ARMS as like a secret bonus boss and maybe unlock him for multiplayer? And he could be the most OP character. he'd be like banned from all the tournaments, and he could play trombone when he wins, and it's really cool. I guess there's not really a question, but like I just think that'd be a really cool idea they should implement in ARMS. And if not, we should protest. Peace out.
Thank you for the call. Tomb of the Unknown Caller. I love this idea. He's made me like ARMS, Nick.
Yeah.
Lanky Kong. What if Lanky Kong was an unlockable character in ARMS, a la Donkey Kong in Punch-Out? Or a boss character or whatever.
I mean, in fighting games,
perfect.
My favorite character is always the stretchy guy, so they pretty much just made a whole game of that. So, hell yeah. Let's put Lanky in there.
Fuck, I mean, you know the internet would eat it up because Lanky is beloved on the internet.
Yeah, for some reason.
For some reason, yeah. Well, it's either Lanky Kong memes or Dong memes, so we're kind of locked into
or soon to be Donk memes.
We're gonna get into that. I have a feeling why they went with that name, but we'll get into that. So yeah, thank you for the call, Tomb of the Unknown Caller. I'm sorry, but if you don't say your name and I don't recognize your voice,
I think I know who that was.
Is that you, Nick?
Yeah. No, it was what's his name? Damn, I can't remember. He's on the DK Minecraft server. Always dropping
DK
nugs.
Minecraft server?
Minecraft.
Oh, okay. I was like, we have a craft like a person who gives us like craft singles.
I'll think of the guy's name. Let's continue.
All right. Let's take another call.
Oh, hey, pretend friends. It's, that guy. Maybe. Probably. Anyway, I guess you want to talk about that Switch thing they showed. Maybe Donkey Kong. To be honest, I don't really care that much about Donkey Kong. It looks like they're still pushing these video games as something everyone can play, you know, with that Switch 1, 2, 3 thing. I was just wondering, I don't think my mom ever played Wii or like the Nintendo 3DS. I don't know if she's even played Candy Crush. Do you think Nintendo can finally get to my mom? It's lonely in my in her basement. Please respond.
What? Thank you for the call. I believe that was ILDC.
Yeah, what was the last thing you said? In the basement?
Do you think Nintendo can reach his mom with the Switch?
And then after that, something about the basement?
Oh, I don't know.
She's blowing him in the basement or something?
I got fixated on the can Nintendo reach my mom thing, and
well, he has a point though. They do always seem to push the whole "it's for everybody," but you know they ignore their fan base has been there for a long time and isn't an octogenarian.
Yeah, here's the thing, ILDC. My mom was actually snared in by the Wii fad. And she had a Wii before I had a Wii, which was humiliating. But yeah, because that was
it's like the crying game again.
It's like 2006. Chad and I were making Elvis and Slick Monty. I wasn't really focused on video games at that time, and there wasn't really much coming out in the way of games, but Donkey Kong. So I didn't really feel like I had the urgency to buy a Wii. I got a Wii in 2010 when Donkey Kong Country Returns came out, so late adopter on the Wii. But
did your mom actually play it?
My mom played the Wii for about 6 months, and then it started collecting dust. My mom then went on to games like Candy Crush and Bejeweled and stuff like that. Shit like that, and that's what she played.
Russian roulette.
Soon to be America's #1 pastime. So, I don't know. I think that it showed that the staying power isn't really there. I mean, just from my personal experience, the staying power for these kind of things aren't there for...
The Wii is one of those things you're over at somebody's house, you wouldn't expect them to have one, and then you like see it in their cupboard covered in dust.
Right.
You're like, oh, they had a Wii? What?
I don't think they're going to convince anybody who still has a Wii in their home entertainment systems to get a Switch.
Turn in your Wii for a Switch.
This whole desire to reach the older markets that weren't around for the early generations of video games.
Although, like I said, I saw no old people in this 1-2 Switch thing. I just saw like the young cool kids.
What I think they're trying to do with the Switch is build an alternative to the Xbox and PlayStation. It's like, they're trying to make this idea again that, you're going to have a PlayStation or Xbox, but you're also going to want to have a Nintendo.
Yeah. So, it's like the Xbox for the frat boys, the PlayStation's for the hardcore gamers, and us, we're just for the cool, meme-loving, colorful, rooftop partying kids.
I object to the notion that only frat guys...
No, I'm saying that's what they think, or they're trying to say, I guess, maybe.
Well, that might have been true, again, 15 years ago, but I feel like since St. Phil Spencer took over, the Xbox has definitely gotten away from that image of the dude bros system.
Sure, I own one. I never thought I would, but...
Yeah. Anyway, so... I think, since the Wii U was just not a vital system that gamers felt like they had to own, I think they're trying to cast a wider net with the Switch. So you've got these party games, which they still think can bring in kind of wayward.
And I'll say that everyone's talking about the Switch. Nobody really talked about the Wii U.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they talked about the Wii U when it was announced, but it
wasn't like trending everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, the Wii U was also a terrible name.
Yeah, people just thought it was like an add-on.
I think the Switch definitely sticks in your mind better. So, so they're casting a wider net though, and they have the games for the hardcore Nintendo fans, and they have things like Skyrim. Even though who cares about Skyrim? If you don't already, if you care about Skyrim and you don't already have the means to play Skyrim, then you're just already a hardcore Nintendo fan who was going to buy this anyway. But
if you've never played it, have fun with it, enjoy, but. For the majority of people that play video games, not that exciting.
Back in the chat, again, coming from Carla Gurney, she wants us to mention that the big deal, apparently, about this Zelda game is that Zelda, the character, is now wearing pants.
It's so progressive, it hurts.
So progressive. She's actually wearing pants. That's as progressive as Nintendo usually gets.
Yeah, she'll still have to be saved while wearing pants, but she's wearing pants.
And Peach, Peach still needs to be saved in the new Mario game. But before we get to that Mario game, let's get to the other Mario game that we have to talk about. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Oh boy. So we knew this was coming. We didn't know if it was going to be a new Mario Kart game running on the Mario Kart 8 engine or just kind of a ultimate edition of the Wii U game, and it's the Ultimate Edition. It seems to have all former DLC bundled inside, and we've got new characters at King Boo, Dry Bones, and Baby Bowser. It's kind of a faux pas on Mario Kart 8's part that they dropped Baby Bowser just as Smash Brothers made him a character. So
yeah,
that's been rectified. You've also got the Splatoon trio as more guest characters in Mario Kart to further muddy the waters, even if we can't get any Kongs in this game, because it looks like this might not be accurate, he might be in there and it just hasn't been announced, but it's looking like Diddy Kong got snubbed again, as did Funky Kong. But
they don't want him in 2 major racing games. Should we let it die?
I have to admit, a little part of me was kind of happy that we didn't see Diddy.
Yep.
Because because it means that at
Confirmed.
least a small kernel of the Kevin Callahan manifesto still holds up. Granted, a lot of the Kevin Callahan manifesto does not hold up in light of the other Switch reveals, like the price point of the Switch. He said it was going to be at $149.99, and it was basically running on Wii U hardware. No, but at the very least, Diddy not being in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe means Diddy Kong Racing can still happen. Maybe.
Oh, it's happening.
Right? I have to wonder, though, does this mean they're not planning a Mario Kart game for the Switch if we're just getting Mario Kart 8 Deluxe?
Not necessarily. It just might not be their priority just yet. Given that,
or maybe,
how can you really improve upon this one this soon? Like, it's pretty satisfactory.
Well, the thing about Mario Kart 8, it's probably the best Mario Kart game.
Yeah, especially now
with
everything they're putting in it.
Well, the paradox for it, for me, is it's the best Mario Kart game. Graphically, the CPU isn't as cheating. It's not as brutally unfair when you're playing single player. But the roster selection is still just kind of awful. It's full of drones and pointless gimmicks like Metal Mario or
I don't like the non-series folk coming in either. It just doesn't feel right.
I don't. Well, I mean, but at least it kind of justifies the Kongs being there a little bit more, because no, they're not Mario characters. They're their own characters. If any Nintendo character can appear in Mario Kart now, at least it gives us a little bit of cover from this assumption now that all the Kongs are just Mario series characters. Battle mode's back, which should have been there from the start.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I guess that finally being in it makes it the perfect Mario Kart game. But
it makes the original release of Mario Kart 8 kind of worthless at this point. So, but I have to admit, I saw the footage in the Switch presentation, and I commented in the inner circle. I said, "Oh my God, it still blows me away how good this game looks."
Yeah,
compared to how
it's like a Pixar movie.
Compared to the pastel kind of shininess of the Mario Kart games from the GameCube through the Wii, this looks so much better. So, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, whatever. I would like the Kongs to be in it, but part of me is still holding out hope Diddy Kong Racing is a thing. So, I don't know. Well, Nick, it's time. Let's get to this. Let's do this.
Arms.
Super Mario. I almost said Super Mario Armacy because you said arms and you distracted me.
Armisen.
Super Mario Odyssey. God damn it! I almost did it again. Super Mario Odyssey. So this is the new Mario game, the Mario 3D platformer, kind of more of an open world game similar to Mario Sunshine.
This is made by Oddworld Inhabitants, right?
What?
Oh wait, that's Abe's Odyssey. Oh, they're gonna sue somebody.
Yeah. So we see a cityscape in the trailer, realistic looking city.
A city escape.
And no,
like Sonic.
Not a Kurt Russell movie.
Oh.
Not Escape from New York. This is Super Mario Odyssey, and so we were watching this in the live call, and I was like, oh, because on the West Coast, the people who were watching this on the West Coast, their feed was about 5 seconds ahead of ours, and I think it's because they were closer in proximity to Japan. I'm not really sure. But so they were reacting to things that everybody on the East Coast, which included me and Cameron Regal, our good friend Grunt, and some others. You were in Arizona, Nick, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, but Mamechi was still way ahead of me. I would find out things from him saying them, pretty much.
Yeah. So they were saying, "Oh, it's the Mario game," and it looked like a realistic city, and I was like, "Oh wow, what? This is Mario." And then I heard somebody say Dixie Street.
That was me.
And I didn't like register it. I was just like, what? And I thought maybe they had like references to a bunch of Mario characters, like and Mario affiliated characters. So I thought, okay, so if there's a Dixie Street, maybe there's I don't know, Rosalina Way or something. And you know, so I didn't think much of it. And the trailer itself looked incredible. I mean, the graphics are about on par with Mario Kart 8. This is the way a Mario game in 2017 should look.
Minus the humans, but yeah.
Well, we'll get into the humans here. Well, we won't get into them. It's not going to be like that lesbian grandma commercial.
Or Osmosis Jones.
The worlds themselves look nothing really like what we've come to expect from Mario worlds. There's different art styles for each world. Each world looks like a different game.
It looks like completely different gameplay, too. I mean, he's like scaling buildings, but I don't see like why he's scaling them. It kind of looks like there'll be a bunch of empty kind of hub worlds or something that you can just fool around in. Because they didn't seem like levels. It
almost looked like a sandbox game when he was in the city.
But also when he was in the like other places, it wasn't like a linear path he was going on. It was very odd looking.
I don't know. We really don't know. Yeah, we don't know too many details yet. But yeah, he went to the kind of western town. It kind of looked like, I don't know, like a Deglo Rango village.
I like to call it It's a Mia de los Muertos.
That was solid. There's also what seemed to be a jungle, and I remember the snark coming in. Oh, Mario gets a 3D jungle before Donkey Kong. Not counting Jungle Japes from Donkey Kong 64, which barely counted as a jungle.
It barely counted as a level.
Yeah, so these environments look really cool, and I was like, okay, so the whole thing is Mario is traveling the globe or something. He's got like this yellow submarine kind of steampunk machine. He flies around.
It's a top hat,
and he goes from. Well, no. Is it shaped like a top hat?
Yeah, it's got a top hat on the door, and it's shaped like a top hat. It's like a hat in time's gonna sue somebody too.
Okay, so anyway.
No, really, that wasn't just a setup. It's a top hat.
Yeah, you know, I believe you. I believe you.
But I mean, like, and then his hat's alive. Like, there's a bunch of hat-related stuff going down.
Yeah, his hat has googly eyes. And you talk about Hat in Time going to sue somebody. I think Rare is going to have to sue somebody. Rare and Playtonic. This is their gimmick. And I remember, I know Steve Mails and some other Rare and Playtonic guys were making kind of snarky comments on Twitter. Not snarky, but just tongue-in-cheek, like, you know, how they're glad Nintendo's finally come around to their design philosophy of just slapping googly eyes on things. So anyway, I was really impressed with this, and this is like the kind of Mario game that I thought we would be having in the future when I was a kid. Like, this is the way I kind of envisioned Mario's world from watching the Super Mario Brothers Super Show or other things. When Mario's world seemed a lot more full of possibility when I was a kid, before it kind of became formulaic. Probably around the time of Super Mario 64 that started the trend. But definitely the new Super Mario Brothers games locked in this kind of
put the nail in the coffin
trite Mario formula. So that's all well and good. So I was actually enthusiastic. I was like, all right, that looks pretty good. And then people started like going back to the city and saying, well, I saw signs. It's a new Donk City. And I saw New Donk City. I saw the signs for New Donk City. I did not put it together. I did not put the pieces together.
You're like, what's a donk? A badonkadonk?
Yeah, well, because right. I'm a huge.
Is this the red light district?
Fan. I wonder if there will be a red light district in New Donk City.
The red balloon district.
Stop and go station. Except for fucking.
Stop and swap.
So, I'm a big Donkey Kong fan, if you didn't know, Nick.
Oh, I didn't.
And no, yeah, I kind of keep it, you know, under my googly eye hat, but yeah. it is a fact that fact about me. So I never called Donkey Kong Donk, or he's either Donkey or DK. Does
anyone call him Donk?
Nobody calls him Donk, but the internet has a meme where they take the box art from Donkey Kong 64 and they make it say expand Dong. I don't even really know where it started from.
Who knows? Who cares?
I'm too old at this point, but
Yeah, Dong
So
is the
whenever you
internet
see-
thing, not Donk.
yeah. So whenever you see Donkey Kong online, somebody's gonna have to make a dong joke, expand dong.
Yeah, it's so original.
Whatever. But I have a feeling that Nintendo went with this name, New Donk City, because they're directly playing to that element. And I could be wrong.
Possibly.
And I probably am.
Possibly.
But it's, you know how many times I've accidentally typed New Dong City in the last 2 days, Nick?
Accidentally? Come on.
All right. Well, anyway.
Green Donk City.
Coming soon. The hot new comic strip from DK Vibe. Well, there you go, Nick. A DKU comic idea for you.
Yeah. Don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody. So, what? So, okay.
Yeah, I don't think we're fully articulating how batshit this is.
Yeah, so it slowly dawned on us that everything in this city, and by everything I mean a couple of business signs and some street signs that we've seen so far. What?
In a park, right?
Well, a sign for a park that's essentially just a street sign.
Yeah.
These are all Donkey Kong references,
Yeah.
and not just
Deep
Donkey Kong
cuts.
references, but Donkey Kong Country references.
Yes.
So I've typed them all out for us here,
Okay.
and all the ones that have been found so far.
Okay.
So we've got, besides New Donk City, besides the name of the city itself, we've got Diddy's Mart.
Okay.
So like a convenience store.
Yeah,
run
that was
by
the first
Diddy,
thing
I
that
guess.
caught my eye, and then I noticed Dixie Street.
Dixie Street, which was right there when Mario pops out of the sewer. And then the street sign underneath Dixie Street, it's kind of hard to see, but it says Cranky Street.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. You've also got Squawks Park, Espresso Street, K. Rule Street,
What?
Ramby Street.
So we got K. Rool, folks, on a street sign.
We got, yeah. First a me costume and then a street sign. What could K. Rool fans possibly want more? Another business, and this is something that wasn't discovered until I think the next day because it was hard to see and it was only visible on the trailer Nintendo put up afterwards. A sign for Tiny's Pirashokes,
Piroshkis.
which I think it's actually pronounced Pirashok. It's supposed to be pronounced Pirashokes.
Oh, okay.
But piroshki is how I think most people pronounce it. It's a Russian pastry, like a meat pastry. And, you know, I know the Russians are taking over every aspect of our lives.
I thought she was in
they
like
got
the law business.
She was a German tax collector.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Now she's
I
a
can't believe
Russian pastry flinger.
I can't believe the Russians got Tiny Kong. Man. There also might be a Lanky Street. We think it says Lanky Street, but there's too much of a reflection on the one street sign. But it could very well be Lanky Street. So, in addition to those country references, you've also got red girders.
Did we say Ramby?
Every now and then. Yeah.
Okay.
And you've also got license plates on the taxi cabs. There's nothing but taxi cabs in this city. And it says ND 1981. So New Donk and 1981, the year of the arcade Donkey Kong.
So they're mixing their Donkey Kong lore. It's okay.
Well, but what this city might be, it would be appropriate to have some arcade references.
Sure, it's a city.
Well, let's get into this. Nick. Because a lot of people are saying, all right? People are saying, okay? Just people are saying, I'm hearing it.
No more Trump this
Big
year.
apes.
No more Trump this year.
Yeah, it's not like he's going to be in the news this year or anything. Big Ape City is the canonical name for the city where the original Donkey Kong arcade game took place. Donkey Kong 94, the Game Boy expansion of the original Donkey Kong arcade game, established that the city's name was Big City. So what Rare did a year later with Donkey Kong Land was they had the fourth and final world of Donkey Kong Land be this city, but they further tweaked it and they said it's actually called Big Ape City.
Did they officially say this is where the original took place?
What, New Donk City?
No, Big Ape.
Yeah.
In what, the instruction booklet?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Big Ape City, which is of course a very clever pun on
The Big
Apple.
Yeah.
Which they could just call it the Big Ape, But okay, so this has been Donkey Kong canon, hard established Donkey Kong canon for over 21 years.
Yes.
Yeah, rock croc. So, Big Ape City hasn't really been seen too much since. The closest we got was Donkey Konga 2, because we saw the city on an offshore island that's visible from the shore of the Congo jungle.
Which is insane that is in that game, but okay.
That is insane, yeah. But that's exactly where we said Big Ape City wasn't on an offshore island just off the coast of Donkey Kong Island. And considering it's called Big Ape City, the impression I always got was that it was a city populated by apes. And Donkey Konga 2 further establishes this because it's got, a...
So you're saying that's the impression that you get. Sorry.
Yes, Nick.
All right.
That's exactly what I'm saying. But Donkey Kong 2 further elaborates on this, and it is like a conventional human city, but it's full of Kong-related things. It's got a hall of records full of all of the, I guess, proprietors of Donkey Kong Island, their equivalent of presidents or kings. And they've got... an amusement park with like a merry-go-round where instead of horses, it's rhinos, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the impression we've had at DK Vine is that Big Ape City is a ape-populated city that Mario intruded upon in the original Donkey Kong arcade game, and he had a fight with Cranky Kong, then Donkey Kong Sr. on the construction site, and the rest is history. So having a city populated by humans, and not just any humans, these are realistically proportioned humans in like formal wear and suits and like it almost looks like a Mad Men era.
Yeah,
it looks like the late 1950s, early 1960s.
It looks like you zoomed in way too much on like a Sim City game or something. Like you weren't supposed to see the details of these people.
And it wouldn't be so off-putting if Mario, this stout little man, wasn't running around. It looks like Danny DeVito kind of running around.
I forget who. I think was it Mitch who said on the forum that it was recently announced that Mario is not human officially. What? That he's Homo Nintendus.
Oh, I remember that. But yeah.
And so these must be Homo erectus.
Well, I think that was from like a style guide from the early 90s. It was one of those weird things that...
Well, he doesn't look like these folks.
No, he doesn't, but he's also, I think, supposed to be human. I mean,
he's a hobbit. He's a halfling.
So anyway, as you might imagine, because Big Ape City, for whatever reason, is always a hot topic of contention on the DK Vine forum.
Yeah.
Because people, especially arcade purists, have their own conception about where the games of where Donkey Kong Arcade took place. Because in the 80s, there were some different stories, some official, some not, that were released. In some renditions, Donkey Kong is an escaped zoo animal, and Mario is a carpenter working at the construction site who has to take him down after he ape naps his girlfriend.
And in some, it's the reverse. Mario's like an abusive pet owner, right?
Right. So what I have always said, and what DK Vine's official stance, as official as we get, as our stance has been, is that, well, Donkey Kong Land retcons this, and it says, no. Big Ape City is a Kong-controlled city off the coast of Donkey Kong Island. Mario was the intruder on Big Ape City, Mario and Pauline, and a very protective Cranky Kong was trying to protect...
I don't think Mario had malice in intruding. Maybe he didn't know what he was doing.
He was an ugly American, There's some
emphasis
asshole
on ugly.
Coming from New York City, throwing soda cans.
Look at Pauline, look at the apes. They think they're humans going to the job.
He was probably pissing everywhere. He was probably did have his dong out. That's probably where expand dong comes from.
Did someone pay him to piss everywhere?
He was breaking relics. He was like Jennifer Lawrence. He was wiping his ass on sacred rocks.
Wait, what the fuck? She did that?
Oh, you didn't hear about
No.
that? Yeah. Apparently, there's some controversy that like Jennifer Lawrence like sat on some like sacred Native American site and like just to be a dick.
Oh, but she didn't wipe her ass with a rock.
Well, she rubbed her ass against it.
Okay. That's far different.
I don't know. I mean, maybe she wiped her. I don't know the full details of this slight, this cultural slight.
Wow. The things that become news.
But I think we can both agree, though, that Jennifer Lawrence is no longer America's sweetheart, and she's actually a very ugly, ugly person who we should shun from polite society.
Has dawned on me before the whole rock incident. There's something about it's like she never did actually anything wrong. It's just being in too many movies or something. It's like at first you're like, she's so down to earth, she's so amazing, and then after like movie 17, you're like, go away for a while. Just go away.
Yeah, that's the downside of fame and success. It's overexposure.
Yeah, she did nothing wrong, yet I hate her now.
Which is why DK Vine's been going strong for 17 and a half years. We've had no success. So, anyway.
No press is good press.
So this has always been my take on Big Ape City and where the arcade games took place. And it makes sense because if the events of Donkey Kong Jr. take place immediately after arcade Donkey Kong, why is Mario now in the jungle with the captured Donkey Kong, you know, in putting himself up in prime position where Donkey Kong's son can rescue him? So it has to be near Donkey Kong Island. And I've always also maintained that the Mushroom Kingdom is a different dimension than Donkey Kong Island itself. Donkey Kong Island is part of the Rare Archipelago, which takes place on Earth. Earth as we know it. The Mushroom Kingdom is in the Mushroom dimension, a parallel Earth that had different evolutionary progress where, you know, fungus evolved into men. And this is actually supported by the, I guess, media of my youth, the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, the Super Mario Brothers movie. You know, it all supported this interpretation of events, and it wasn't until Yoshi's Island that Nintendo portrayed a different narrative, one that I think is still reconcilable with the Brooklyn origin of Mario. Yes, he was born in the Mushroom Kingdom, but then he was taken as a baby to Brooklyn to hide him and Luigi from a vengeful Koopa army who wanted to murder them. And then eventually they found their way back to the Mushroom Kingdom as plumbers when they fell through the warp pipe.
Yep, everything you just said certainly are words.
Yep. Oh, by the way, Scrap69 is now in the chat, and he's saying, Parry, parallel. So
he's finding parallels where there just aren't any birds.
And by the way, in the Super Mario Brothers movie, Carla wants me to point out, it was dinosaurs that evolved into men. But in the games, there's actually mushroom people. So anyway. Yeah, Lance Henriksen was the only fungus in the Super Mario Brothers movie. King Koopa de-evolved him into a giant fungus that was going all over the city.
Yeah, that was gross.
I actually have a soft spot for that movie. It's a terrible movie, but I like how they took a lot of the Mario concepts and reinterpreted them for the narrative they were telling.
It was made by the people that made Max Headroom.
Was it really?
Yeah, so you kind of see that aesthetic all over it. It's sort of a loud, noisy mess, sort of. Mm-hmm. But it does have interesting concepts in it.
Remember when Max Headroom was? Well, you're too young, but Max Headroom used to be a spokesman for Coca-Cola.
Wasn't he in Back to the Future 2 also?
They did Max Headroom style versions of 80s characters. They did Ronald Reagan and the Ayatollah. They did Michael Jackson.
And there was something Coca-Cola related in that too, but I forget.
That was Pepsi Cola. They had Pepsi Perfect in 2015.
Okay.
And like Pepsi, like in 2015, Pepsi released like only 25 bottles of Pepsi Perfect, and you had to like win them. And I was like, come on, Pepsi.
Yeah, that was sort of a failed experiment.
Fucking effort. All right. So anyway, we're almost done, Nick. But we got to get to the contentious part. So this is a city called New Donk City that's full of references to Donkey Kong.
Say it again.
New Donk City.
Never gets old.
It's full of references to Donkey Kong. I mean, the only interpretation I can take from this, granted, we don't know any context or any details beyond what was in the trailer, but I think this is, they're trying to say this is where the arcade Donkey Kong took place, which would mean this is Big Ape City, which would
possibly it might be where it took place. We don't really know the whole gimmick of this game. He's obviously traveling between worlds, but are they like worlds that could be or could have been? Like, we don't know if these are.
Well, he's got a globe on his little top hat yellow submarine thing, but it's not like Earth. But he seems to be traveling between dimensions too, because they're like wildly different art styles. You've also got above New Donk City. I almost said Dong. New Donk City. You've got this blue planet. Did you notice that?
You mentioned it, yeah, and I believe Cameron cleverly said it was the moon because Donkey Kong punched it closer to Earth.
Right. But it doesn't really look like the moon. And I would say it's probably the moon, but on the flags of New Donk City that appear everywhere, you see this planetoid above the city skyline. So is this an alien planet? Is this a Donkey Kong inspired city on an alien planet? Is this Cranky Kong's people farm that he like started with Xananab? like what is going on? So yeah, it might not be Big Ape City. We don't know the context. There's some weird stuff that make me say, wait a minute. But everybody's turning to me because they want to celebrate my angst, my supreme anguish over this possible continuity bomb that's been lobbed into my lap. So as
it could just be like a what if kind of thing, right? It doesn't have to be some wrench in the works, right?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Nick. It's possible that Donkey Kong and friends might not even appear anywhere in this world.
Oh, they won't.
Because there's no sign of any actual physical character appearances. So I've heard some theories that, well, what if Donkey Kong or K. Rool is the boss of this world? Well, I think we've already seen the boss of this world. It's a giant robotic caterpillar. So
or centipede.
I don't know, man. Or centipede.
Yeah, he looks rad.
Something. Maybe a millipede. I don't know. But okay. So we might not see any actual characters, and if we don't, that means, oddly enough, DK Vine does not have to cover this game, which means we don't really have to be that concerned about the continuity ramifications. And I know people are going to cry foul about that. People are going to bitch about it if we don't consider anything this game doles out as hard canon. But here's the thing. We have hard canon. It's called Donkey Kong Land. So as of this point in time, mid-January 2017, Big Ape City is still the hard canon. And we don't know what Super Mario Odyssey will bring about, but this doesn't change anything yet.
Yeah, I do not think New Donk City is supposed to be where Donkey Kong took place. I just don't think so.
Okay.
I think it could be some sort of weird parallel universe or some sort of clever little thing they're trying to do. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing, Nick. I've already rationalized some of it in my brain as a contingency in case it is supposed to be where the arcade Donkey Kong game took place.
Go for it.
So in case of continuity emergency, break glass here. Yeah. So, okay. And the nice thing is I'll then feel the ice in that glass.
Yeah, the weight of it.
With the with the new Joy-Con controller. So, did you notice, Nick? And I don't mean to turn this into a race thing. Okay?
Oh, here we go.
But did you notice? I mean, I'm not a racist. I mean, I've got black friends, okay? Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, did you notice that all the humans that at least walk by within eye shot of the camera are seemingly of African descent.
No, I just looked at a screenshot just now and there's a white guy.
Where's the white guy?
I'll find it for you.
Okay, but
where's the white guy?
Where's the white
Quote
guy?
of the year
so
far.
Guys.
Let's see.
Like watching.
Yeah, right here, dude. Google Mario Odyssey. It's the fifth image that comes up.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, I'm curious of where you were going with this stuff. New Donk City filled with black people. What were you trying to say?
No. Because I've always said that Donkey Kong Island in the Rare Archipelago is off the coast of Africa.
Sure.
Where's your white guy? Fourth image.
Fifth image. Just
that's Mario.
No, Mario Odyssey without super in front of it. It's a guy with like a fedora, and he's walking by Mario on the sidewalk. Mario's looking at him. The guy's like, "The fuck?"
Well, that doesn't mean anything. Maybe he has Michael Jackson skin disease thing. Okay, so there's white people in Africa too. My point is, Nick. My point is
apartheid and all that.
It seems like a healthy racial diversity that maybe leans towards people of African descent. So this New Donk City could still be off the coast of Africa. It could be Big Ape City. Big Ape City, if this comes to pass, and I'm only saying this if it comes to pass, New Donk City might be the official name of the city. Big Ape City is then the nickname, aka the Big Apple. Or a la the Big Apple. So
yeah, we're getting into like our own brand of continuity here that no one else will follow but us. But as long as we admit that, then yes, that makes sense, and I like that.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time Rare has had one of their own names retconned for something else. Star Fox Adventures gave us Dinosaur Planet. Just called Dinosaur Planet in that game. Star Fox Assault, of course, then actually gave it an official name of Soria.
It wasn't called Soria even once in Adventure?
Nope.
Huh, okay.
Not once. And that name came about from Star Fox
Assault. Yeah, I forget who it was on the forum, but they made a post saying that what was it? Do you remember about how this used to be Big Ape City, but then after Donkey Kong saved it from K. Rool, it was changed to New Donk City?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be theories like that, but here's my personal theory.
Well, I don't see how it's any more crazy than your theory, but okay.
All right. So, I can still reconcile the whole apes. This was an ape city or whatever, because it's New Donk City / Big Ape City, potentially, with, Kong-related everything. So maybe, because Cranky kept out the humans because he's a bigot. But maybe, when Donkey Kong took over the proprietorship of Donkey Kong Island following the events of King of Swing, which we all know is when he took over the island from Cranky Kong and became the village chieftain, so to speak.
They teach that in schools.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, all the good schools at least. Not with standardized testing, because they just focus on, stuff that really doesn't matter, like, math and the sciences. But
DK Junior math matters, but yeah.
So, maybe once Donkey Kong became guardian of Donkey Kong Islands, humans actually discovered it, because, it's starting to enter the era of drones and satellite imagery, and, you can't remain hidden forever. So maybe the humans found New Donk City / Big Ape City, and maybe Donkey Kong had to broker some sort of negotiation with this African government. Maybe it's South Africa, which explains the white people that you apparently see. Oh yeah, I guess I see one white lady in the background there, but they're mostly darker skinned. Anyway, so maybe,
I don't see color, so I didn't really notice.
Jeff, another lap staffer, he can't smell things.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. So he has no nostrils?
Yeah, it's a good thing that, for all of the motion... Yeah, he's born with his nostril strut. It's a good thing with all of the motion gimmickry of the current generations of games. There's never been a smell gimmick as well, because he would be shit out of luck.
Yes, he would, but he could live in New York City with ease.
Does it really smell in New York
That's the
City?
first place that came to mind that I've heard smells bad, but I don't know.
Well, I think New Donk City was the word. So anyway, so maybe humans settled the city as part of a negotiation with Donkey Kong, so long as they stayed off the main island.
They probably gave him smallpox-laden bananas in exchange for it.
He just gave them Ebola in return.
Yeah.
That's what that whole Ebola outbreak a couple years back was about. So I'm prepared to heavily fan wank things if it comes to pass. But here's the thing: we don't know what the context of this game is yet. We don't know the context of this world, and so right now I'm just kind of going to play it safe and say, there is literally no way to know. An old Kongversation chestnut. Mm-hmm. But how do we feel about this? As we start to wrap this episode up, we have one more call to take, but I remember this is not what I was expecting.
No.
I was not expecting to have such a heavily Donkey Kong oriented aspect in the new Super Mario 3.
I was not expecting by the end of the night to have seen a reference to espresso.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I had to stay up and then write the news post and
Proud of you.
I was like, I had been drinking some hard cider too, so I was clearly not expecting it to be a long night, and so I was just like, oh no.
That explains all the typos. You called it New Donk City on your news story.
Yeah, you say that, Nick, but I'm sure I don't give any more typos than I do when I'm sober, which is a plethora of typos. I'm probably more literate when I'm drunk.
Probably.
But the fever dream aspect of this,
yeah,
I woke
it's
up
weird.
The next morning, still feeling weirded out.
I think your dream about Banana Republic was more feasible than this.
Yeah. The only comparable thing that this feels like is, I think back when we saw the footage of the Diddy Kong pilot build that had the Mario characters and had K. Rool searching for the lost city of El Dorado.
Yeah, that's similarly batshit. Yeah.
Stuff you would never expect to see that actually existed in some capacity, even though we never actually got the game.
Yeah.
Same feeling with New Donk City.
And a couple episodes I was railing against certain Star Wars choices of, not to go back to Star Wars, sorry, but, just the whole, this has been talked about to death, but the whole remember this, like just dropping names and dropping images. So, like, I'm hypocritical by being excited by this, but I mean, come on, it's like the only thing we get anymore is this kind of shit, so it's kind of exciting.
We don't even get this shit. I mean, Espresso is referenced. K. Rool is referenced.
This is kind of cool in a, because we don't know at all why yet, It could be really interesting for the whole story of it, so we'll see. Or it could just be a total, lazy-ass tie-in and in another Rescue Princess Peach repetitive garbage game, but I'm excited.
Yeah, it could be New Donk City doesn't have any context, and it's just a city full of Donkey Kong references because they were feeling cheeky. But why? Do you know, the majority of this team, or not? I don't know if it's the majority of this team, but a good portion of people on this
Jungle
team
Beat
made Jungle Beat. Jungle Beat, the game that infamously, they said in interviews, we felt that the Donkey Kong Country characters, I'm just paraphrasing here, weren't fresh enough for today's gamers.
Well, they went back on that.
Well, I don't see Hoofer Street. I don't see Ghastly King Way. I don't
see Banana Avenue.
The Banana Avenue.
The Banana Avenue.
So, I mean, this is kind of coming from this team, and I think somebody said it on the forum, I want to say, isn't it weird that this team, the Jungle Beat team, developing a Super Mario 3D platformer,
snuck in DKC stuff,
has more references to Donkey Kong Country than Retro does in their Donkey Kong Country games.
I want to see Dread Kong's Hookah Lounge.
Well, and that's the exciting thing about this. At the very least, bare minimum, the exciting thing about this
is acknowledges the DKU.
Yeah, and we don't know what other references are waiting for us in this huge city.
It just reminds people, hey, remember that, even if they don't appear in it, even if it's just a little nod,
it still will remind people like, oh yeah, Donkey Kong has his own like universe of all these characters. Why haven't we seen them in a while? You know what I mean?
It's stuff you don't even see referenced in things like Mario Kart, really.
Or Smash.
The closest, I mean, we got the Donkey Kong Country Returns inspired track in Donkey Kong.
That was cool.
Mario Kart 7
a Tropical Freeze
8.
one would have been badass in 8, but I know timing wise maybe they couldn't.
Well, and the only reason we got the Returns style one was retro co-developed number 7.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we'll see.
So I mean,
right now it's confounding, but it's like kind of a funny kind of confounding. So it's not like Smash 4 confounding where you're mad.
Yeah, I'm not mad about this. I'm confused and a little scared, but I'm not mad, and I want to learn more. But with under the safety of the blanket I use for security purposes. So we got one more call. Let's see what they feel about New Donk City,
right.
And then we'll give our final thoughts on the Switch.
Who is the man on the phone? Ooh, it's your buddy Malik. Do you really want to hear him? Well, I hope you do. Hey there, Chad and Hyle, and or whoever else may be there. Malik calling in to give you my thoughts on the Switch presentation that happened just this past Thursday. A lot of people say that the presentation sucked, but I have to say while it was not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, I was generally happy with what they showed. I mean, the price is pretty pricey, and the translators during the event were certainly not into their job, but I won't go on about that. Really, what has me excited is Splatoon 2 and especially Mario Odyssey. That is what I've been looking for a 3D Mario game, something that's free roaming in the vein of Mario 64, and boy, does it ever look beautiful. And it made me really happy and confused to see all those streets and establishments named after Donkey Kong stuff. It may not mean anything, but it's just nice to see them acknowledge all these characters. Shows that they really do respect the franchise enough to reference it like how they do. But again, it's still really baffling. What was their thought process, and how did they come to the conclusion of referencing DK stuff in a Mario game? Anyways, from what we've seen, Odyssey is the type of game we need more of on the Switch, and as time goes by, and I can't wait to see more. The Switch itself, I am not getting day one because it is $400 Canadian, not including like extra controllers and stuff, for just Zelda Breath of the Wild, which I'm not really into the Zelda series, but that's my loss. It just doesn't make financial sense to me right now, and come on, the Switch isn't going anywhere. I'll get one at my own leisure. Unless, as I said before, a Donkey Kong game is announced, in which case, well, I gotta get a Switch then. Anyways, that's all I wanted to share, and I will talk to you guys again next time. Now my call is over.
Thank you for the call, Malik,
Yeah.
a.k.a. the Cartoon Gamer.
Thank you, Malik.
I'm pretty much in the same boat as you, Malik. Don't need to get a Switch right away, but if they announce a Donkey Kong game, I pretty much got to. And that's the thing about this, Nick. It's not really all the games that are going to be announced this year. We've still got E3. We've still got Nintendo
Exactly.
Directs. I mean, who's to say? We don't know what Retro is working on. Retro is still in the dark. Since Tropical Freeze came out 3 years ago, we don't know what Retro's been up to. So
You never know. I mean, the bottom line of all this is that the presentation wasn't that great, but we got some glimmers of hope, and the system may, for some people, cost an arm.
Glimmer wasn't referenced.
No, he wasn't.
We don't know if there's any Glimmer references.
Glimmer
yet.
Bay, you never know. But for some people, it might cost an arm and a leg, but that's okay, because you'll get it right back when you buy ARMS.
I know you're trying to end the episode there, but I've got one more thing to say. No, I've seen a lot of speculation that maybe all of these references of New Donk City is Nintendo hinting that they've got a big Donkey Kong game in the works, a 3D Donkey Kong game, or a new Donkey Kong Country game that brings back all of these characters that are sorely missed. I don't think it means anything like that at all. They're not the Beatles. They don't drop clues in the middle of their show about
Swanky is not dead.
Well, I hope he's not dead. At the very least, I hope they replace him with a lookalike so he can continue his career well into his 70s. But Nintendo doesn't play these coy games, so besides Electroplankton, there might have been koi in that game. I forget. But anyway, my point is that...
the point is, it may cost an arm and a leg, but at least you'll get one back in ARMS.
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.
Oh.